Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I accept things the way they are. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I love wasting. I love wasting. I get free. I reap abundantly. I already have everything I need. Wonderful is happening to me right now. Don't you feel it? Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Oh yeah, I accept things the way they are. I will. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
You have nothing that understands that.
Yeah.
I understand the words, but there's no connection there, you know? Like, my nose hair's froze. What do you mean your nose hair's froze? What is that?
I know. That's why I
You know,
need
just insane.
Oh, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. 2017, and it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
It will.
Okay.
Never boring. No.
Merry
Good
Christmas.
morning and Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year.
All right. What do you got there? What you doing?
I am getting our breakfast.
What
Look at
cheese?
this. It's a beautiful, lovely pound cake with nuts in it galore. Yay! And
right.
butter and all kinds of goody stuff.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whoever brought the good stuff.
I ask each of you just to gently settle into your seats with your feet on Mother Earth, feeling the peace within your heart, within your whole body, the peace that we exude, each of us exude to everyone in this beloved sanctuary and beyond. Feel the peace, feel the love. Each of you are absolute love. The light of the world. As each of us go in within our heart, knowing that each of us are at the right place. The love that each of us exude, each of you exude, is exactly what we are here to do. To show the world the light, the magnificence of this beautiful day. As each of us celebrate the birth of Jesus, the master teacher, as each of us walk in his footsteps, knowing that each of us are divinely guided. And just to settle into the silence for a few moments, to feel that love deep within your soul, your heart. The love that each of you are, that I am. The one word that is so powerful is love. Love for each other, for all of the other beings on this planet Earth, honoring each other, loving each other. Each and every one here hearing my voice are in a state of love, peace, tranquility, accepting what each of us are, and even stepping out beyond what we know right now. And just spreading our arms and saying, yes, how may I serve? And as one of our songs say, use me. I love you all. Namaste.
If you would, just sit in your seat comfortably with your eyes closed or lowered. And know that the truth that I speak is your truth. I know that God is love. God is peace. God is unity. God is harmony. God is joyful expression. And I know that God is in and through and as everything. And therefore I know that I am one with the infinite. So therefore I am peace. I am harmony. I am love. I am joyful expression. And what I know to be true for me, I know to be true for each and every person hearing my voice. Each of us are viewed with that essence of God, and therefore we are it. We are the way God gets to express love, harmony, peace, joy. And I know for each and every one of us that today especially, we are the Christ in all that we say and all that we do. We honor each and every person that we see, knowing that we are honoring the God within ourselves and the God within each of them. We are the way that God gets to show up in the more peaceful, loving way than ever before. And so I'm so grateful for the opportunity today for each of us to be that beacon of light, to spread that love, to be that peace. Oh, and I'm just so grateful not only to know this truth and to be it, but I'm so grateful to be in this space, in this place with my spiritual family. I am so grateful for each and every person that said yes to being here this morning and being part of this great expression called the Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living. I'm so grateful for each volunteer that makes me feel so welcome and so loved each and every week. I'm so grateful for our musicians who touch our hearts and open us up to hear the message that Reverend Dan has made so special for us today, knowing that we are better off to know the truth about ourselves as a result of what he shares with us. I'm so grateful for the ministry of prayer that holds this center up in consciousness and in love. And so for each and every person, each and every being, I just say thank you, God. And so I release my word into that perfect action of the law, knowing it is already done. So join me in saying,
and I am Reverend Cheryl. I'm the co-minister here along with my brother Reverend Dan and my sister Reverend Stacy, who is in LA with her family, her other family, yes, and she's having a good time. I get texts every few hours. And I know there are some African Americans that celebrate Kwanzaa, and I personally didn't know a lot about Kwanzaa because we celebrated Christmas, and I have a video that I would like to show you, just so you can learn something. We're teachers here, so we wanted to show you. And next Sunday we have another surprise, but this Sunday we have this. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, I'm Kyla.
I'm Steve.
And we're the LIVNG.
Members here at the Center for Spiritual Awareness in West Sacramento, California.
Welcome to Did You Know? An American History. In this video, we will educate and celebrate historical and cultural information about Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa is an African American holiday conceived by Dr. Maulana Ron Karenga and first celebrated on December 26, 1966. It was always meant to be a holiday that celebrated family, community, and culture. The celebration makes use of Swahili words and the colors of red, black, and green. Kwanzaa is celebrated from December 26th to January 1st, with each day focused on one of 7 principles, collectively called the Nguzo Saba. Each day, the principle for that day is discussed and reflected on in families and community gatherings. And each day, a candle is lit for that principle. The 7 candles are held in a holder called Kinara.
Each Kwanzaa celebration includes asking permission to proceed from the elders, singing of the Black National Anthem, the pouring of libation to the elders and ancestors, an historical tribute, an explanation of Kwanzaa, and the lighting of the candles. Singing, dancers, spoken word, and other cultural expressions are also part of the celebration, ending with a potluck feast called a karamu.
Hi, my name is Tanya Beverly, and welcome to our noteworthy section where we spotlight important facts about Kwanzaa. What are the 7 principles? In the order in which they are celebrated: Umoja means unity, Kujichagulia, self-determination, Ujima, collective works and responsibility, Ujamaa, cooperative economics, Nia, purpose, and Kaumba, creativity, and Imani means faith.
Though Kwanzaa is an African American holiday, the focus on family and community and the 7 principles has meaning for all peoples. Someone said the work to build a society that is accepting of all its citizens makes for a stronger world. It teaches us to live with and celebrate contradiction. It moves us away from a viewpoint of either or and closer to the inclusive and. We at CSA look forward to providing more rich content throughout the year that highlights, uplifts, and celebrates us all, because we believe that we are all in this together, and only together can we co-create a world that works for everyone.
I just meant Merry Christmas, thank you. You know, as a person that was raised in the Catholic faith and who was very influenced by Jesus, the great teacher, I just love this holiday. And I'm really excited that we're all here today to share this together. Let's see how we're going to do this now. I dressed down today. That's right. Oh my. Okay, that's going to go nowhere really fast. And then Stacy will find out, and she'll come home, and I'll have to answer all that. So the title of my talk today is Recognizing the Light Within. Getting a little feedback here. Where should I go, Russell? Well, I know where you want me to go. Better? Yeah. So the title of my talk is Recognizing the Light Within. And so I was traveling to Reno, as I do every week for work, and my plan was to write my Christmas talk. And I love the airplane. I love airplanes. And so we take off in this amazing machine, and I don't know how it works, and I can't think about it, because then I look down, and I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, so the plane takes off, and when you reach 10,000 feet, you hear this little bell, which is the captain notifying the flight attendant, who notifies us that we can turn on all of our electric devices, because God forbid we be disconnected for more than a minute or two from, I don't know, the Kardashians. And so at that point, I put my tray table down and I get all set up. And then I take this moment where I become very spiritual, very centered. I'm like, God, what would you like to say on Christmas Day? What would the infinite intelligence want to impart on the centers of spiritual living? And before God has a chance to say a word, I say, I have some ideas. And it's going to be really cute for Christmas. And I said, God, you know that poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas"? How about "'Twas the night before a manifestation"? Cute, right? And God's response was, read the in-flight magazine. And I said, well, now wait a minute. You're not catching this. A little bit more. "'Twas the night before a manifestation, and all through the mind." Cute! And God's response was, read the in-flight magazine. And I said, seriously, really, are you not seeing how cute this is, God? A little bit more. "'Twas the night before Christmas, but 'twas the night before a manifestation, and all through the mind, not a negative thought was stirring." Where does this come from? I said, this will be the best Christmas talk ever. And God's response was, read the in-flight magazine. And I said, you know what, really, I do not have time to read. We have a sermon to write, right? On Sunday's coming. We need a sermon, we've got props, we got to get music, we got to get pictures and videos, we have to rehearse, I have to drive Paco crazy. And God's response was, so I said, all right, you know what? we'll do it your way. We'll do it your way. I just want you to know, I don't have a lot of time to read, but apparently it's all about you, so we'll do it your way. So I get the in-flight magazine, Southwest Airlines in-flight magazine, and I start thumbing through it, and I see like ads for hair loss, which is just a great reminder when Paco's like, we need to put more product in the back to hide that solar panel of yours. That's what happens when you marry a millennial. So I'm looking, and there's food, and then there's ads for alcohol, which at that point I think I need, even though it's 7 in the morning. And then, and I said, you know what, God, there's nothing in here that's worthy of me not writing my talk. And so I turn, and then I come across this. The letter. The assignment was simple. Write a letter to someone who changed your life. Then show up on their doorstep and read the letter out loud.
Beautiful.
And I just regret I didn't do that for Reverend Cynthia.
Oh, you've spoken
Sorry.
so many times.
No,
You're there.
Anyway, and then it said, but when Michael Graff reconnected with his former mentor, the assignment transformed in a way he never could have anticipated. And ultimately, she taught him one final lesson. And I said, well, you were right. I said, I get it. I'll read the article. On the day she finally told me what she needed from me, she took a shower with her eyes closed, unable to bear the sight of her hair twirling down the drain. She dried off, dressed, and let the nurses attach a tube to a surgically installed port in her chest. Good blood rushed into her body to replace the cancer-filled blood. She settled into a chair and wiggled her toes to make sure they weren't going numb, a minor everyday nuisance for someone with multiple sclerosis. Kendra Williams was in room 351 of Iowa Methodist Hospital in Des Moines, Iowa. 19 days into a... Have you ever been in the hospital? Do you understand? Merry Christmas, by the way. I hope you have tissue nearby. Isn't that joyful? 19 days into a 30-day chemotherapy treatment to combat acute, and is it myeloid leukemia? Doctors had given her a 50-50 shot of making it to day 30. Beyond that, patients with this leukemia usually live at best 5 years. And so the author is in Iowa meeting with her. And he talks about her. He says, Kendra was my editor and my mentor when I was just starting out at a small newspaper in the mountains of Virginia. And he talked about how at the end of the workday, when they had all made their deadlines, these novices, these fledglings could go into her office and talk about work and life. And she was so attentive and so wise. And he says that she had a knack for assigning stories to each journalist that he describes as being the kinds of stories that tear you open so you can look at the rawness of life. And he says, eventually we went on to different things. She went on to be a senior editor at another publication, and he got some other opportunities, which in fact she helped him get. And they hadn't really talked a lot. Every now and then a quick phone call or an email. He did know this though. Kendra and her husband Mark adopted their son Colin in 2006. Colin loves basketball and Pokemon Go. He also has Asperger's syndrome. He's brilliant academically, but about 4 years behind his peers socially. On August 24th, the first day of 5th grade, the 10-year-old boy with floppy hair left school and went to the hospital and listened to his mother tell him she might not live until October. Coincidentally, we love that God works in coincidences. Just a few days before they received that news, an editor at this author's magazine gave me an assignment to write a letter to someone who changed my life, but I never had the chance to properly thank. Then I was to take that letter and show up on that person's doorstep and read it out loud. And he said the first person I thought of was Kendra. And so he waited a couple days and then he sent her an email. And all he said was, "Hope you're doing well. And do you mind if I have your address?" 3 hours later, he gets an email. "Hey, Mike. Well, this was meant to be. I have a journal next to my bed with a note in it to contact you today. Your message is timely and appreciated so much. I recently read through an old email folder I have called Nice Things." Remember, Reverend Cynthia had a little box that she put nice things in, and when life got tough, she'd go to her box. I have so many emails in there from you, and from Andrew and the others from my time at the Winchester Star. In one of them, you thanked me for helping you get your job in Fayette, North Carolina, and said if I ever needed anything, I should ask. So I need something. And so I'm asking, I'd like you to write a piece about me for my celebration of life, whenever that is. I want something that people can take copies of at home, and something that my husband Mark and Colin can use as a touchstone in the years ahead. I can get you names and contacts. I've already written my own obituary. This is something beautiful and separate. So he flies to Des Moines and he sits with her in her hospital room for 3 days. And he gathers information. And just about the time he's ready to leave, he said, "I want to be really clear about what you want me to write." And she said this, "I want Colin to know just how much I love him. The sad thing is he doesn't remember what I was like before I got sick. I want him to know that I wasn't just his mom. I want him to know I did other things too." So the author goes on to write a letter to her son. And I'm just going to read a few parts to you. "Your mom never cheated anyone, Colin. In fact, the rest of us always got the better end of the deal. One day, Colin, a Tuesday, the paper she worked for near Chicago was set to go to the printer when something terrible happened in New York. You weren't born until 5 years later, but that day, September 11th, 2001, changed America. It also changed your mom's career. The news editor at your mom's newspaper didn't think it was a big enough deal to stop the presses and redo the whole paper. And the editor left to get coffee. Well, your mom was appalled. She stood up in front of the entire newsroom and said, "This is what we're going to do." And she did. And by the time the news editor got back, your mom already had a new plan for a new edition that would go on to get awards. The next week, she was promoted. I tell you this story, Colin, because there's a lesson in it. Don't be bound by anybody's description of you. If you know the right thing to do, do it. Don't assume someone else will. I was 23 years old, Colin, when I met your mother. I know that seems old to you, but trust me, I was just a kid. We had a whole group of kids my age in Winchester, recent college graduates who believed we were smart. Your mom came along and taught us just how much we didn't know. There are a lot of things I hope you take from her, and all of them add up to a good and gracious life. But this one is especially important. Work hard and be good to people, even when the world isn't working or good for you. Because something good will come along, something like you, Colin. You see, they're the answers. We call them reasons. And they're the answers to why. Your mom was always fond of reasons. You will find these people as you go through life, those who believe that everything happens for a reason, like Cheryl Bell. And others who don't believe the world's totally random like that. You can believe whatever you want. But here's an indisputable fact. If your mom hadn't gone to all those places in her life, she never would have met you. If your mom and dad hadn't left Winchester when they did, they wouldn't have made $30,000 on their house. They wouldn't have been able to put that money toward a private adoption. If they hadn't moved to the Midwest, they wouldn't have been at that meeting with your biological mother where she said, "You are the people who should raise my child." All these things had to happen for you to become your mom's son. Maybe one more. What I'm trying to say, Colin, is that your mom, a cherished editor and friend, asked me to write a story about her life. A story in which she wanted me to let you know who she was and how much she loves you. She asked me to publish it after she died. But I'm writing this now because out of all the lessons your mom taught me, the one I hope I'll always remember is this: never put things off. And so at that moment, I said to God, I want to be an open vessel. And so what do you want to say on Christmas? And so God said, change the title of the talk. And so the title of my talk today is Merry Christmas, and you are going to leave here one day. And I'm going to give you the greatest Christmas gift that you could possibly get today. And that is the reminder that you will leave here one day. And the question that I pose to you is this: when it's time for someone to write something for your celebration of life, What is that going to look like? What are you going to be remembered for? What will be written about you? What will people say was important, that mattered to you, where you put your energy and your focus? Jesus, whose birthday we celebrate today, spent his entire life attempting to teach us what was important or is important. Listen to what he says in Matthew chapter 22. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? And Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. And the second is like it, which I find those words interesting. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. And he says, all the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. So in its simplest terms, basically what Jesus says is there are three relationships that you have in your life. One, your relationship with God, your creator, source, the infinite, the divine, the infinite intelligence, whatever you call it, however you define it. And then secondly, your relationship with you. And then thirdly, the relationship that you have with the people around you in this world. And Jesus tells us that everything that was ever written, all the wisdom of the sages, all the great words of all the prophets, tell us these three relationships, compared to whatever we experience, whatever we come into contact with, these three relationships are the most important thing in our lives. And I've come to understand that when we don't take care of any one of these relationships, that moves us out of alignment with our highest and best good. And when we're not in alignment with our highest and best, we don't attract our heart's desires. And sometimes we do attract our heart's desires, but for some reason, we don't enjoy them. Can't be out of alignment and be in alignment. So I want to talk about our relationships with others. I can speak about this. And I've always been very honest and open. I haven't done relationships very well in my life. And I really didn't do very well this year in some areas. And it is something that I have vowed that I'm going to take care of. And what I've come to understand is that we cannot attract our highest and best when we are not our highest and best with others. I want to say it another way. When our relationships are wrong, our life experience can't be right. I'll say it another way. If you treat people like crap, you're going to have a crappy life. Maybe that resonates with you. And you know, it starts with the very least among us. You know, the people that don't hold a great space and place in your life. Let me ask you, do you see others? You know, I walk through airports, I walk through stores, I walk through the gym, and I try to make eye contact with everyone I see and smile. And I am amazed at how many people don't smile back. They don't even acknowledge that I'm looking at them. And then there are those that look right through my eyes to the back of my head. And I'm like, you know. Now I'm going to tell you this, and this isn't, you know what, listen, I don't have much of an ego left anymore, but I'm going to just share this story with you because I think it's powerful. I started going to a really great doctor recently. And in our first visit, we were talking and, just kind of getting to know each other. And he stopped and he said, I know you. And he says, I don't know from where. And I'm like, oh God. Because within the last 5 years, we're okay. If it's like further than that, I'm not sure what pics got lost in the cloud. I said, okay, here we go. And he said this, I remember you, and this is why. You speak to the unspeakables. And he said, I'll tell you what I mean by that. You speak to those that the rest of the world won't. The rest of the world ignores them. The rest of the world doesn't want to be a part of them because they don't fit the mold. And he said, I watched you and I knew it wasn't for show because you consistently went out of your way to speak to people. I thought that was a very, very nice compliment. And it is a reminder, as I said before, people are watching you. People are watching you. You can teach the world every day by what you're doing in the world. You don't have to read the science of mind to them. You just need to be the science of mind. So I ask, are you seeing the invisible? Are you speaking to the unspeakable? Another relationship. What about your relationships at work? You know that one person that you secretly have a voodoo doll in your desk for? Oh, please, don't act like it, you know. I'll tell you what I've learned this year, because I've found myself sometimes at odds with people at work. I've learned that sometimes the best thing I can do are the 3 S's. Be still, be silent, and smile. I think, you want me to say it another way? Sometimes I think it's just best if you just shut your pile. Seriously, you know, if someone is truly behaving in a way that is not honoring and respecting others, and by the way, when you make that judgment of another person, you better make sure it's them and not you. Because by the way, 99.99% of the time I have found it's me and my ego. But for that 0.1%, shut your pile. And if you think you need to go in and sort of, take over for God and handle that situation and show that person, you just pull yourself into their energy. You become the very thing you're seeing that you don't want to be. God doesn't need any help. Wait long enough and God will take care of it. Next relationship. We have to learn to set our judgments aside. The world is changing. And contrary to what we believe, it's not the responsibility of the other 7 billion people on the planet to be just like me. I know that 7 billion of me would just be, oh my God. But there is a new generation emerging. And they look different, and they operate different, and they express differently. And you know, I found, my britches are falling down. It must be the 70-pound belt buckle I have on. Well, fashion has its price. I got to that point where I started judging everybody. And what I realized was, some of us call it, oh dear God, I turned into my parents. But I would see something and I go, oh, for God's sake, look at those tattoos. Dear God, you call that music? Who dresses their kids like that? And then you go to the store and everybody's like, I'll go, hey, you know, I'm wondering where the screwdriver's on. And the young man says, hey man. I'm like, I am not your man, okay? Who talks to? And so, okay, hold on, I'm going to kind of lessen my big story here. Okay, so the day I had the realization that it was up to me to begin to adapt to this changing world, which is lovely. I mean, I tell you, one day there will be no black and white. We're all coming together, we're all becoming one. But I realized it once when I went to the Apple store. And I was having problems with my iPhone. And so you go in there and they take your name, because there's a billion people there. And they have so many products and services, and they want to match the right person up with your need. You know, they even have a place called a Genius Bar, which I've noticed none of them have invited me to. Anyway. But all of a sudden, my name came up, and this young woman walked up to me, and she had her nose pierced. Honestly, it was like all pierced. I thought, girl, I don't know how you get through the airport without setting off a terrorist alarm. And she had tattoos all over, and she had jeans. And I thought, and there was nothing about her that made me feel that she could fix my phone. So I'm like, this will be fine, go ahead. Let me just say this. Best customer service I ever got. Smart, professional, polite, interested, hardworking, working and going to school to become a doctor. And at the same time, she is expressing who she is. And I thought, you know what, good for you. And the other thing I thought was good for Apple, for letting her be who she is. Not judging her by the color of her skin or how she expressed herself, but by the content of her character. Embrace this generation. They have so much to give, but we've got to let them do it their way. One last thing. We talk about this all the time. We mention this almost every week. But who do you need to make it right with today? Now, you may say, well, there he goes again, talking about the old spiritual F word, forgiveness. Let me ask you another way. Do you want exuberant health? Do you want abundance? Do you want extraordinary experiences? If the answer is yes, then you need to create an opportunity to forgive and to be forgiven, which sometimes is even more difficult. Some will say, well, I don't know. I'm not going to waste my time on these people. They're never going to change. Well, guess what? Right now, God doesn't care about them and whether or not they're going to change. God cares about what you're doing, how you're going to handle your relationship, what you're going to create in your life. I will tell you this. because I have a whole lot of experience with this. Fix those broken relationships and watch how the universe fixes all the other broken stuff in your life. Or you could be like me. At one time, it just dug my heels in because I was the righteous one. And I didn't fix those broken relationships. And the universe left all the other broken parts of my life broken. And because we talk about it every week, all I can say is what Forrest Gump says, and that's all I got to say about that. So Merry Christmas. And you will leave here one day. And Reverend Cheryl and Reverend Stacy and I look forward to writing something very beautiful at your celebration of life, which is the weirdest Christmas talk I think is happening in the country today. But this is core. This is core to life. And this is the core of Jesus' teaching. So thank you, Jesus. Happy birthday, Jesus. And watch over Stacy and let her get back safely. And I truly wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Namaste. If you'll stand and connect. So just know with me right here and right now that today is a day for celebration. Celebrating the way shower, but also celebrating that each and every person here is the way shower. As Reverend Stacy would say, each and every one of us is exactly who we've been waiting for. It is all God, it is all good. And how incredible to understand that each and every person here is a part of that. So as I hold hands with the God of the universe, I just give thanks for this teaching. I give thanks for this center. I give thanks for each and every person here. I give thanks that each person here has a wondrous and joyous day. That each person, as they travel through the holidays, that they are guided and guarded and protected. I know that each person here is waiting for 2017, declaring right here and right now that 2017 is the best yet. So I simply say, thank you, God. And together we say, and so it is. Merry Christmas.